Hey guys, welcome to Brian's Man Cave, episode 27. For today's episode, I'm going to be talking about boxing, and, boxing video games, to be more specific, and some of the games that I enjoyed playing, but mostly I wanted to just focus on two, because they're more of the popular games, or at least titles, and as far as retro gaming is concerned, not, modern. And there's been so many different boxing games. I mean, if you look at what they started with, with boxing for the Atari, which looks a little bit like this. And that was just the Activision one. And then they made a Real Sports one. Ooh, here we go. Looks a little bit like this. Which are all great games, but, they're faceless, nameless people. And, of course, there was the Intellivision one. I played this a lot when I was a kid. And it was the same idea. I mean, it was just, nameless, faceless, boxers, just boxing. That's all it is. So what I wanted to really drill down to was the ones that are actually named after athletes and or movies, in this case, and the systems that it really changed things up a bit. And of course, I'm talking the SEGA Master System, and this is Rocky, and Nintendo's popular Punch-Out. This is Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. There's another one where it's just called Punch-Out, and it doesn't have Tyson in it. It has Mr. Dream at the end, but it's the same game. I mean, literally the same game. Back in the day, I used to be able to beat this all the time, but I think today I'm so out of practice. I probably couldn't beat this. I was thinking about actually looking deeper into things like George Foreman's boxing. This is for the Sega Genesis. And I also have Super Punch-Out for the Super Nintendo. But those, I didn't spend a lot of time playing those. These ones I did. Well, this one's more specifically I did. This one I just started to try it out, and I thought it'd be a great comparison because, the Sega Master System and the Sega and the Nintendo, are pretty much the rival systems. And, why not take a look at how these games compare, and let's see if Rocky can beat Tyson. Wouldn't that be a match? Okay, let's start with Rocky. Now, this is on the Sega Master System. There he is there. The graphics aren't too bad. You could tell that's Rocky. So what they do here is they get you to do a training session. I was playing around with this. It just seems like you just gotta punch. It just punch, punch, punch. Mash the buttons. Just keep going. I don't know if I like this though. I think I just like getting right into the boxing. I don't know if I like having to do a training exercise. So it goes right into Apollo Creed versus Rocky. So they're, I guess, trying to follow the movies. And really, the controls, I don't have a whole lot to do here. There's move back, there's move forward. There's a way to duck. But really, it's just moving in there and just trying to hit them. Stick and move, I guess. Overall, the graphics, again, they're not too bad. I think they're trying to do too much for what the system was capable of with that background there. It just looks like a big mess of, I don't know what that looks like. It doesn't look like people, that's for sure. I believe the meters at the top there they're not really how much damage you're doing. I think it's how tired you are. And of course it has the intervals here. The sound effects could use some work. Definitely say the sound effects are not there. The music and everything. Where's the Rocky music? There should be Rocky music going on here. I don't hear any Rocky music. I just hear some kind of made up tune and some kind of punching noise. So far all I'm doing is just pressing one button. I'm just continuously pressing the button, pushing forward, and I don't feel like I'm doing a whole lot. Other fighting games, you always feel like there's a combination of buttons you can push, or there's like a strategy to it, whereas this just feels like I just have to stand there and just keep punching, and he just falls down. And I don't know why he keeps giving up. And he got up again. That's frustrating. Okay, let's just keep going. Now, if you recall in the Rocky movies, Apollo wasn't that easy to beat. In Rocky, I don't think you really ever beat him. They get to the end where they kind of both knock each other out, in a sense. And of course, even in the first movie, Rocky doesn't even win. It's the second movie where he actually wins. Here I beat him. Alright, now we're on to Mike Tyson's Punch-Out! Now, this game is included on that NES Classic that just came out, but it's not the Mike Tyson one, it's the one that I mentioned that had Mr. Dream in it instead. But anyways, let's just start a new game. Now the graphics are great. I like the graphics. You can see, well, that the people in the back, they're just heads. And I know they don't put a lot of focus on the background. The perspective is different now. Instead of coming in from the right and the left, we're on the top of the bottom here. And of course the size of the fighters. They call this guy Little Mac. Now, obviously they did this just because if they didn't, you wouldn't see the guy in front of you very well. The only other way to do it would be to make him practically invisible. And which I believe they did in the arcade versions, the actual original Punch-Out. And this one utilizes both buttons very well. I felt with Rocky, I didn't know I was just kind of punching either button out. It just seemed to do the same kind of punching. This one, you got the A and the B. One does the left, the other one does the right. And when you do eventually hit them, when you get that star there, you can hit this button, which is the start button, and do an uppercut. I'm tired here. I'm not playing very well, so I'm just kind of doing a demonstration here. The thing with the stars is when you get hit, you lose it. There's the TKO. Now the thing I like about this game is they've created a whole number of characters which all have their own attributes, all have their own fighting techniques. Some of them are very comical looking, you know, like there's the King Hippo guy. They all have their own profiles. I mean, there's so much to this game that makes it interesting. It's not just another boxing game. So the other thing that's cool is we can go back to the main menu, and we can go to the continue thing, put in a simple code here. This will take us right to Mike Tyson. Now it's time to get my butt whooped. I remember actually the last time I fought Mike Tyson. The key thing is getting past these first uppercuts. One hit and you're down. That's the thing, you never know when he's going to stop that barrage of smackdowns. You can see when he kind of blinks, that's when he's going to hit. And I'm just getting butt handed to me. It's just a reaction time. And just like that, I'm out. I mean, I didn't even touch the guy. But that's the fun of having to fight Mike Tyson. that's how his matches were in real life. I mean, the guy just walked up, punched you, and you were out. So, yeah. Well, there you have it. I mean, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out versus Rocky. Both exceptional games. I wouldn't say they're the best fighting games out there. Probably my favorite out of all of them, and not including these ones, I would say would be Knockout Kings for the PlayStation. I think I had the most fun with that one, and I mean, but we're going into PlayStation now. That's completely unfair when you're comparing it to these games. And you know, I did spend a lot of time with this one. This was the Intellivision boxing, and as you can see just from the back there, I mean, it's pretty much the same idea. Two guys battling it out. But when it comes to these two, I had a hard time having fun with this game. I didn't like the training parts. I felt they were unnecessary. The graphics were okay, and the fighting was... I just felt I was just mashing buttons. And I never liked that. I never like it when a game just feels like you just gotta mash buttons until you win. This one, full of strategies, colorful characters, and of course Mike Tyson at the end. And it's always a challenge for people to want to beat Mike Tyson. You know, the codes. Just show you the book I have. Where did I put it? Right here. This was the book I actually used. I bought this a very long time ago. And I bought it because I knew there's a lot of tricks to Nintendo. This is before we had internet. I mean, really, I mean, well, the internet was around, but I mean, people didn't put all this stuff on the internet. And, you know, everything is in here for all the more popular games, so it's a perfect book for me to keep on hand. Anyways, yeah, I would definitely have to say that this one definitely kicked the hell out of this one. Now, that begs the question, is Rocky a better fighter than Tyson? Who would beat each other? I don't know. Probably Rocky, I would think. He has the ability to go the rounds. I mean, all he has to do is not get hit by that uppercut, and he'd probably take Tyson down. But, you know, I'm speculating here. Anyways, I hope you liked the video. Let me know what you think of the boxing games, if you have a preferable game that you used to play, or if there's any other system that you prefer to play boxing on, or even if you like boxing. I mean, I'm not a sports person myself, but I always enjoyed boxing. I would say boxing and hockey were always my two favorite things. Let me know what you think below. Hope you subscribe. Talk to you later.